Chris Paul comes in, obviously it changes the whole dynamic of the Clippers, what they are, what they're trying to do. How short of a leash do you think Vinny Del Negro has now as opposed to last year where he was working with, a bunch of young guys, a bunch of injuries, things like that? Jovan, how short of a leash is Vinny Del Negro on this year?
I think it's a lot shorter now, just because last year they had a bunch of young guys. Their best player was a rookie. For however good Blake Griffin was last year, he was still a rookie. And I think now that they have a top 5 talent, arguably a top 10 talent in Blake Griffin, they have veteran Chauncey Billups. They have a good team. I think we all agree that this should be a playoff team. So if this team, gets a 7-8 seed, I think Vinny has to go after the season. And if you see this team kind of struggling around 500, I think he should go mid-season, because this team, as much as we could be overreacting, we haven't seen them play yet. I honestly think this team should be top 5 in the West, if not better. And if they're not going to be doing that, it'll probably be because of Vinny. I'm kind of worried. I don't know what the offense is going to look like. But I think his leash should be really short, because there are a bunch of coaches that would want Chris Paul and Blake Griffin on their team.
So even though the Clippers haven't made the playoffs since 2006, you think even if they get a 7 or 8 seed and do make the playoffs, he's still gone?
There's a lot of outside factors as far as if Chris Paul gets injured, just knocked on wood, or if anyone gets injured really, or if something happens, the just chemistry isn't right, then that's understandable. But if this team is playing to its full capabilities, there's no excuses, then I think he has to be held accountable, because they're not going to get rid of Blake, they're not going to get rid of Paul. The person that has to go is the coach.
Yep. If
What do you
things
think,
go
DJ?
bad, if things go bad, there's a scapegoat, and that scapegoat isn't going to be Chris Paul. It's not going to be Blake Griffin. It's not going to be any player. It's going to be the coach. So if they don't perform up to the expectations, which are playoffs at this point, this team should be a title contender. That's crazy. I know Clippers are a title contender, but this team should be. Look at the talent they have. They still have some holes to fill in for depth, but this team should be a title contender. So if they get a 7 or an 8 seed and they underperform in the playoffs, just so everyone knows, Del Negro has a team option next year, so they can choose not to renew him. He's done. So if they underperform, I think he's gone. But if they do well, make the playoffs, make some noise in the playoffs, he'll stay.